Tonight, breaking news just hours after those hostages were released. Tonight, President Trump issuing a new warning to Hamas. The fragile ceasefire in Gaza already being tested tonight. The president now demanding Hamas disarm, saying, quote, if they don't disarm, we will disarm them, warning perhaps violently. We'll go to Ian Panel live in Tel Aviv. Here in the U.S. tonight, the government shut down day 14, federal workers fired. And now with millions of federal workers going unpaid, President Trump announcing a $20 billion bailout for Argentina. Democrats tonight saying U.S. taxpayers are paying for this. Powerful storms across multiple states, a tractor trailer nearly going off a bridge, the cab dangling over the side. Heavy rain, possible flooding, triggering evacuation warnings tonight. News this evening in the arson attack on the home of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, with the Shapiro family inside. Newly released video here tonight showing the moment the accused arsonist firebombs the home. That suspect in court. The U.S. military launching another deadly strike in a drug cartel boat out of Venezuela. Tonight, Homeland Security also warning Mexican cartels are attempting to track, harass, and target Immigration and Border Patrol agents with violence. The alleged threats come amid rising tensions in the U.S. over crackdowns in Chicago and Portland. Tonight, surveillance video showing the car crash involving actors Alec and Stephen Baldwin. Alec Baldwin behind the wheel slamming into a tree. Late today, President Trump posthumously awarding the Medal of Freedom to slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Tributes pouring in tonight for Grammy-winning R&B singer D'Angelo, dying at just 51 after a battle with pancreatic cancer. And made in America tonight, grown in America, farmers across the country competing. Tonight, the biggest pumpkin in America. You'll see it just in time for Halloween.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We are just back from the Middle East tonight, and now just hours after the world witnessed those hostages being released, the ceasefire now being tested. Tonight, a new warning from President Trump for Hamas, demanding they disarm, warning if they don't disarm, we will disarm them, perhaps violently. The president today praising the peace plan that he brokered to get Israel and Hamas to this point and to get those hostages home. Late today, Hamas releasing the bodies of 4 hostages who were killed in captivity. 8 bodies now returned out of 28. Israel tonight accusing Hamas of violating the truce by not releasing all of the remains for these families, an American family among those still waiting tonight. It comes after the final 20 living hostages were released. We were there, of course, as the world witnessed these emotional returns. Tonight here, the horrific details now emerging about their brutal 2-year ordeal as captives of Hamas. ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Ian Panel, leading us off tonight from Tel Aviv.
Tonight, after his groundbreaking trip to the Middle East, President Trump with a warning to Hamas, saying they must disarm as part of the next phase of his peace plan.
If they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently. But they will disarm. Do you understand me?
Israel tonight accusing Hamas of violating the ceasefire deal by not releasing the remains of more hostages, threatening to cut desperately needed aid into Gaza in retaliation. Late today, Hamas releasing 4 more, but 20 are still missing. Parents like U.S. citizen Ruby Khan waiting in agony for his son Itai.
The job is not done. There are no less hostages than the 20 that came out.
Stories of abuse and hardship now emerging from the released hostages. The family of Omri Moran telling Israeli media he counted every day he spent in captivity, at times even cooking for his captors. Omri reunited with his wife Lishai, playing with his 2 young daughters, Ronnie and Alma, just 4 and 2.
Finally, he could embrace Ronnie and Alma, he could play with them, he could feel like he's a father again.
In Gaza, some of the nearly 2,000 prisoners taken by Israel and held without charge also reporting abuse. Abdullah Fahran detained for 20 months, saying he was told his family had been killed. It was a lie. I was released, not knowing if my family was alive. It was a beautiful feeling to find them, he says.
David, this dispute about Hamas disarming and the return of bodies underscores how immense the challenges ahead are. But President Trump clear he wants a wider Middle East peace, and that does mean solving Gaza once and for all. David?
Ian, you and I were talking on the air yesterday. Monumental challenges lie ahead. Ian, thank you. Meantime, back here in the U.S. tonight, the government shutdown. Now day 14, federal workers fired. And now with millions of government employees going unpaid, President Trump has announced a $20 billion bailout for Argentina. Democrats tonight blasting the move, saying U.S. taxpayers are now paying for this. Rachel Scott at the White House for us.
Tonight, with the government shutdown stretching into day 14 and with millions of federal workers going unpaid, President Trump welcoming his political ally, Argentina's President Javier Milei, to the White House to announce a $20 billion bailout for his country.
Argentina is one of the most beautiful countries that I've ever seen, and we want to see it succeed. Very simple.
The economic lifeline comes just a month before Argentina's crucial midterm election. The president making it clear his support depends on the outcome.
If he wins, we're staying with him, and if he doesn't win, we're gone.
Democrats seizing on the move, accusing the president of using taxpayer dollars to help another country while the U.S. government is shut down.
The overwhelming majority of Americans say we need help with our health care, and they're busy spending $20 billion because Trump seems to really like the leader of Argentina.
Democrats say they won't agree to fund the government unless Republicans extend Obamacare subsidies, so insurance costs don't rise for millions. The White House already firing more than 4,000 federal workers, threatening to lay off even more and dismantle programs important to Democrats.
We're not closing up Republican programs because we think they work. So we are closing up Democrat programs that we disagree with, and they're never going to open again.
At Washington Reagan Airport today, air traffic controllers are sounding the alarm. Peter Lefevre has been an air traffic controller for nearly 16 years.
Not knowing exactly how I'm going to have childcare for my kids or put gas in the car or pay the next mortgage payment adds a certain level of stress onto an already stressful profession. It's just very difficult.
David, tonight the Defense Department says it will be redirecting about $8 billion in funds to make sure our military troops do not miss a paycheck tomorrow, but millions of other federal workers still going without pay as this shutdown drags on, David.
And members of Congress still getting paid, of course, as you pointed out often, Rachel. Thank you. Now to the powerful storms across multiple states tonight, heavy rain, possible flooding, triggering evacuation warnings in the west at this hour. And tonight, the harrowing images right here, a truck nearly going off a bridge, dangling. Trevor Ault in California.
Tonight, treacherous driving conditions and fears of mudslides as a rare, powerful storm drenches Southern California. Slick roads causing multiple crashes. This tractor trailer jackknifing at the I-5-118 freeway interchange in Los Angeles. In Orange County on the 91 freeway, rescuers cutting out one of the seats to free this driver after a crash left their vehicle flattened by an electrical pole and sent into a ditch. That driver was taken off in a stretcher. Parts of LA County that were ravaged by the Palisades and Eaton wildfires in January are now under evacuation warnings over fears the fragile hillsides could turn to mud. And overnight, a devastating microburst slamming Tempe, Arizona. The city posting this video of the howling straight-line winds. That system ripping the roofs off of businesses, knocking over tractor trailers, trees, and power lines. The Phoenix Zoo also sustaining heavy damage, though officials say no animals were hurt.
And David, families from more than 100 properties were told to evacuate because of that mudslide threat. Those evacuation warnings will continue into the morning as we're expecting more rain through Southern California overnight. David.
Trevor Ault in Los Angeles for us. Trevor, thank you. Tonight there are new developments after that arson attack on the home of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, with the Shapiro family inside. Tonight here, newly released video showing the moment an accused arsonist firebombs the governor's home. The defendant pleading guilty in court today. And here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky.
For the first time tonight, we're seeing how frighteningly close an arsonist came to Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and his family during a firebombing attack at his official residence earlier this year. Newly released surveillance video shows the stunning security breach around 2 a.m. while the governor's family and guests were sleeping upstairs after celebrating the first night of Passover. The arsonist, Cody Balmer, scales a fence and calmly walks onto the property, breaking a window with this sledgehammer, then throwing a flaming Molotov cocktail inside. The fire starts in an instant. Seconds later, Balmer is seen breaking another window and climbing inside. The 38-year-old mechanic kicks and hammers at two doors, including one that leads to where the governor's family and guests were sleeping. He could not break through and instead set fire to the dining room. The fire destroyed the room. After Balmer's seen leaving the residence, he called 911 and confessed.
I would like to apologize.
Today, Balmer came to court in shackles, pleading guilty to attempted murder, aggravated arson, and other charges.
I think we need real accountability for acts of political violence. And today is real accountability.
Shapiro says the attack left him shaken, feeling vulnerable and guilt-ridden, David, that his public service put his children at risk. Tonight, the arsonist has been sentenced to up to 50 years in prison. David?
Aaron Katursky tonight. Aaron, thank you. Tonight, President Trump says the U.S. military carried out another deadly strike on an alleged Venezuelan drug boat. The president posted the video himself showing the boat taking a direct missile hit in international waters off the coast of Venezuela. The president says 6 people on board were killed. It's the 5th such attack on suspected drug vessels in recent months. Meantime, tonight, Homeland Security issuing an alarming warning saying Mexican cartels are now attempting to track, harass, and target Immigration and Border Patrol agents with violence. These alleged threats come as tensions rise here in the U.S. over crackdowns in Chicago and Portland. Here's Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, Homeland Security officials say they're seeing intelligence that Mexican cartels are attempting to track, harass, and target Immigration and Border Patrol agents with violence. In a statement late today, the department warned that cartels are offering $2,000 for gathering intelligence on federal officials and their families, often with the goal of doxing them. $5,000 to $10,000 for kidnapping or non-lethal assaults, and up to $50,000 for the assassination of high-ranking officials. The alleged new threats come amid rising tensions in Chicago and Portland involving immigration officials conducting broad deportation sweeps. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem telling President Trump in a recent cabinet meeting that she's stepping up security.
We're hardening all of our buildings and making sure that we have more security measures, snipers on the roof, people to protect our law enforcement while they're out there on the streets.
Sources telling ABC News the intelligence has been developed by Homeland Security, FBI, and DEA officials. Authorities calling the intelligence evidence of a structured bounty program to incentivize violence against federal personnel. David, Homeland Security officials fear that the cartels may inject themselves into an already tense situation where tension about the administration's deportation campaign is steadily rising. David?
We'll, of course, continue to track this, Pierre. Thank you. Tonight, a driver facing charges for a deadly chain reaction crash in Jackson County, Georgia. At least 8 people have been killed, all members of the same family. The 6-car crash closing northbound lanes of I-85 for hours yesterday. The victims included 5 children and a pregnant woman. The driver blamed for causing the crash, now facing 8 counts of vehicular homicide. We turn now to the tributes pouring in for Grammy-winning R&B singer D'Angelo, dying at just 51 years old after a battle with pancreatic cancer. In a heartfelt message, Jamie Foxx, calling his voice silky and flawless, sang today, "Real tears run down my face." Here's Steve Osunsami.
To borrow the words from one of his most famous songs, D'Angelo made records for lovers. He famously shared that he was never comfortable being the sex symbol seen here in one of his most popular songs, How Does It Feel, released in January of 2000. He much preferred being known as a prince of neo-soul, at the time a new path in urban music that celebrated live instruments and socially conscious lyrics. He would go on to win 4 Grammys, and Rolling Stone ranks him number 75 on their list of greatest singers of all time. Michael Eugene Archer, his legal name, was born in Virginia and famously shared his life for a time with soul singer Angie Stone, and the 2 of them have a son. She died in a freeway crash in March while on tour. The tributes tonight are far and wide. Singer and actress Beyoncé writes that he changed and transformed rhythm and blues forever.
In a statement tonight, his family says that he died after a prolonged battle with cancer, and it was pancreatic cancer, which is hard to catch early because regular screenings aren't encouraged for most people. A few years ago, he was asked how he wanted to be remembered for his music, and he said he wanted to be remembered as an ancestor, someone who made music that touched his people in a special place. David?
Touched many people for sure, and dying at just 51 years old, as you point out, Steve. Steve, thank you. There is news from the Supreme Court tonight rejecting the appeal of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, the nation's highest court, letting stand the $1.4 billion judgment against him. Jones was ordered to pay damages to the families of victims of the Sandy Hook massacre. He had claimed on air that the shooting was a hoax staged by crisis actors. Attorneys for Jones say the amount of the judgment, quote, can never be paid. At the White House late today, President Trump posthumously awarding the Medal of Freedom to slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk. His widow, Erica Kirk, there to receive the award. She has taken over as CEO of Turning Point USA, the group her husband founded. The president paying tribute to Kirk.
We're entering his name forever into the eternal roster of true American heroes. He's a true American hero, an amazing person.
Charlie Kirk was shot and killed last month while speaking at Utah Valley University. When we come back here on a Tuesday night, new concern over measles spreading. Some students told to quarantine. Also, actor Alec Baldwin crashing his SUV into a tree. There's dash cam video tonight from a truck that Baldwin says cut him off, showing the moment Baldwin slammed into that tree. The video obtained by Newsmax and what Baldwin is saying tonight. And the new restrictions on Instagram, PG-13 restrictions for teens. So how will this work? We'll have more on this in a moment here. A lot more news ahead. Tonight, actor Alec Baldwin says he is fine after crashing his wife's SUV into a tree in East Hampton, New York. Dashcam video obtained by Newsmax shows the moment the white Range Rover there, driven by Baldwin, slams into that large tree. The image is captured by the truck that he says cut him off. He says he veered off the road to avoid the garbage truck.
This morning I was in this car accident. Guy cut me off in a truck, big garbage truck. I mean, a garbage truck the size of a whale.
Baldwin says he was with his brother Stephen and neither were hurt. Health officials in South Carolina tonight say a measles outbreak there is now spreading. 5 unvaccinated students who were quarantining at home due to measles exposure have now come down with it. Another 139 unvaccinated students are still quarantining. There have been 16 measles cases in South Carolina this year, 12 linked to this current outbreak alone. When we come back here tonight, new car prices hit an all-time high here in the U.S., and made in America, grown in America. Can you guess how much the largest pumpkin this year has weighed in at? To the index of other news tonight, for the first time, the average price of a new car in the U.S. tops more than $50,000. That's according to Kelley Blue Book. The average loan rate was up to about 9% in August. Used vehicle prices fell slightly as sales begin to slow. Tonight, Meta, which of course runs Instagram, announcing new default settings designed to restrict the content that teens can actually view on Instagram. Anyone under 18 will be put in a restrictive teen account, allowing them only to see PG-13 content. The settings can't be changed without a parent's permission. The company also adding an even stricter setting that parents can set up for their younger children. When we come back here tonight, the contest every year, the winner 4 times, but news of an upset tonight. So who won and how big was that pumpkin? Finally tonight here, Made in America, Grown in America, the Great Pumpkin Weigh-Off. Tonight, Made in America is back, celebrating America's farmers in Half Moon Bay, California, south of San Francisco, the 52nd Annual Pumpkin Festival and the World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-Off. Farmers from across America trucking in their pumpkins. 4-time winner, reigning champ Travis Ginger, a horticulture teacher from Anoka, Minnesota. We've reported on him before here, but this year, an upset. It turns out Travis's giant pumpkin split apart earlier this season, so he couldn't compete. But tonight, a new champ has been crowned, and just listen to how much his pumpkin weighed.
Let's see how much it weighs.
2,346 pounds. Wow! The winner, Brandon Dawson, father of 2 from Santa Rosa, California. His children, 4-year-old Ayla, 2-year-old Roman, helping dad, planting the seeds in March, harvesting in September.
All the leaves are removed, you can see the vine.
That pumpkin gaining 50 to 70 pounds a day. And right here tonight,
hey David,
that father, Brandon Dawson, coming to us from his backyard.
It's pumpkin season, and maybe it inspires some people out there to start growing big pumpkins or even a vegetable garden of their own, and enjoy fall, and happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween to you too, Brandon. Congrats on that, and congrats to your kids, Ayla and Roman, too. And I'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 3rd year in a row.